Okay, so hopefully we're set up and we have a pretty good idea of where we're starting to work and where we're going to end to work. If you're not sure about that, come see me individually after the demo, and I'd be happy to verify that with you. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is go through and make some tracks. So to do that, again, I can go to Track and New or Command-Shift-N. I'm going to make some mono tracks to start with. If you need to work with stereo tracks because you're recording in stereo, that's okay. Just make sure that you are not creating stereo tracks and bringing in mono audio with it. And I'm actually going to do a couple more. And I'm going to rename these. And I'm going to give them fairly generic names, but the main thing is I just want to change it from Audio 1. So the first thing I'll call them is Sound Effects or SFX. And SFX1, SFX2, SFX3. So you don't have to have more than 3. Some folks will prefer to work with 1 track per sound. I don't recommend that because to me it's much harder to stay organized when you end up with 60 tracks for just a 2-minute clip. I think it's easier to just have some generalized tracks. So, one is for sound effects, maybe one is for Foley, one might be for ambience, and rather than having one sound because it just becomes a nightmare to find things, in my opinion. But you are free to work how you want. You'll just see that when we get to mixing later on, it will be much easier if you do it with fewer tracks. So to create these tracks, I just went up to Track New, and then to rename them, I just double-clicked on the white part of the track header, the gray part, and then just renamed it like I would a region. So the next thing I'm going to do, if I haven't already, is identify these sounds. So I can also do this in Pro Tools. I don't have to do it with the YouTube clips. So to do this, I'm going to go up to my nudge value area. So let me zoom in to show you where that's at. And I'm going to set this nudge value. First, I'm going to change it to timecode. And then I'm going to change it to 1 frame. So notice I don't get that option for frames unless I set the value to timecode first. And the reason I'm going to do that is I want to be able to easily just kind of go through 1 frame at a time and identify where sounds are. So now, with this set, if I press the plus and minus keys on the far right of my keyboard or over by the alpha keys, and I'm going to zoom in so that I can see this because it'll be hard to see. Pressing the plus key advances me 1 frame, or whatever I set that nudge value to. And if I just press and hold down the plus key, it will play at a slow rate. Pressing the minus key above it will take me backwards in time. So this is actually a really good way for me to go through this entire clip now by just using the nudge value set to 1 frame so that I can see and identify where sounds are happening. So I can see there's a bunch of general sounds happening, so I might make note of that on my spotting sheet, that I would have some kind of electrical signals or whatever I hear when I look at this. And just keep going. And as I go forward, I can see that, let me jump ahead. I can see that I'm going to have footsteps. So notice that in my particular movie, we can't see the feet of the characters, but we know that they're walking. So here's an interesting point. Just because we don't see their feet, we know that they're moving, but they still have to have some footsteps, and we still have to have them synchronized. And we'll look at that later, but we would do that based off of their body movement. So one thing I'm going to do for myself, you don't have to do this, but it can be helpful, is I'm going to make markers wherever I have sounds in my clip. And I'm just going to do this for Project 1 in sound effects. So I can see that I'll start where they're visible, right there. Footstep. So I'm going to make a memory location. To do that, I'm going to hit the Enter key on the far right of the keyboard, not the Return key, but the Enter key. That allows me to make a marker or a memory location. And I'm going to say 01. You don't have to number it, but if you want to keep them in order, this will help. And I'm just going to say prog footstep. And I know that this footstep's going to be, I'm going to do a lot of these, so I'm just going to copy that. And then just keep going forward. That's probably another. And I'm just going to do one character at a time right now. So now if I look at my memory locations, I've got a list of each of the footsteps. So this can help me to sync things. And then I also have an indicator up in my, my ruler that shows me where each of his footsteps are going to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and do this just a few more times. And I'm just looking for when his foot hits. And again, I'm using the nudge, the plus and minus to nudge. And I'm just going to use this as an example now because in the next video, I'm going to show you how to record into Pro Tools and then edit these into place.